Listen, gong, gong, gong.
What is up guys, Cody here, and welcome back to some more Napoleon Total War. So today we are on Savoy Hilltop once again, and this is going to be a 2v2. So Nico was very kind to send me this replay, and he's going to be in command of the Russians. So the rules for this battle were no rules, so you guys are going to see a lot of different units. And some a little bit more OP than others. For example, we have two 20-pound unicorns. And he's going to unleash hell against his opponent. He's going to be facing the Austrians, and his ally is the British. So with that being said, let's get straight into his army comp. So for his main line, he's brought 3 musketeers on the right flank, as well as a Russian Jaeger and a 17th Jaeger regiment. These guys seem to be rushing the hill. Behind that, we have some dragoons and Uhlans, and also a general staff. Moving on down the hill, we have the rest of his army consisting of some more musketeers, as well as some more Russian Jaegers in the front lines. And he's got 2 lifeguard foot in the back as reserves units. And the Russian uniforms just blend so well in with the map. So very, very nice uniforms indeed. But we are just waiting for this battle to start. It looks like the British have a similar idea in mind, but instead he's going to be bringing some 6-pound horse artillery. So he's going to be much more mobile on the map. But the engagement has begun, and let's check out this artillery engagement to kick things off. 20-pound unicorns about to respond to some Austrian artillery. And what a way to open up the game. So, looks like he's trying to general snipe the Austrian general, and he's going to have none of it. So he's going to be retreating back to his safe position. But that volley was just devastating. Took out quite a bit of artillerymen from the 7-pound howitzers. But they're going to try and get some return volleys in. But nothing that's going to be too effective. They are just definitely outgunned. They're going to get a couple volleys in, but they are not targeting the 20-pound unicorns, which is very, very surprising. Horses dying, artillerymen just falling to the ground. So the Austrians are definitely up against a lot. Now, as for the Austrian player, it looks like he's going to be pushing up with some militia, and these Landwehr are going to be leading the way for the Austrian army. And they're going to try and cross, it seems. So, Nico is well prepared. He's got Russian Jaegers, if you can even see him, hiding in the forest here. Meanwhile, the British and the French are going to get into some firefights here. And it looks like the 7E are up against a lot of Dragoons and King's German Legion light Dragoons. But he is with some Old Guard. Actually, a lot of Old Guard. I think 2 units of that, and then 1 Chasseur unit. And the rest of the French force is sitting back. But here comes the British. Will the French form score in time? I believe they... Actually, I don't know. I don't think they will. They do, but very, very late. Bodies flying like crazy. The 7E is now in the mix with the rest of the British cavalry. But the British player knows better not to charge into a square, even though that was a very, very devastating charge, killing 20 men already from the Young Guard. So he's going to retreat, but the 7E want revenge, so they're going to be following and chasing down these Dragoons. But look at this, we got these 6-pound howitzers, or horse artillery now, unlimbering. And they might get some very, very good shots in on those French cavalry. As for the base of the hill, it looks like the King's German Legion Lightfoots, as well as the rifles, are going to try and engage the Chasseurs. Chasseurs not in light formation. They're going to lose a lot of guys, and it looks like the artillery is landing some really good shots into the 7th Regiment, and their numbers are going to start dwindling down. Over here, though, Austrians making a big push here with the Landwehr. Without any support, though, it doesn't look like he's committing any other troops beside the Landwehr, so it could be a waste of troops. We got the Russian Jaegers here just blasting these guys to pieces, already down to 135 men, but it seems like they're going to be holding just fine in the forest. And it's pretty safe to say the 20-pound unicorns are definitely accomplishing what they're set out to do, and just obliterating the enemy artillery. So down to one 12-pound foot artillery now, getting very low on artillerymen as well as artillery pieces, and it looks like the lights are actually taking some of the fire as well, being so close. But here comes a big push from the Austrians, now sending up the cuirassiers. They're going to try and charge into the musketeers. Some getting thrown from their horses, but they're going to have a rough time trying to assault the Russian positions. Looks like they managed to break the Russian Jaegers, or at least get into melee combat there. But another point-blank volley here from the Jaegers into the Hungarian Hussars. They're going to continue the charge though, very slow charge into the square formation. Taking a look at the top of the hill though, looks like the 70 are continuing to charge in. Canister being fired in straight into the Old Guard, and just guys are just dying like crazy right now. Old Guard though getting some really good shots in, but taking a brutal beating as they do assault officers, somehow managing to block all those canister volleys. But the Old Guard are going to try and hold strong. Young Guard also taking a beating, and they're going to rout from the battlefield. 70 though still in melee combat, not doing a bad job at all despite the numbers, keeping the Highland foot pretty occupied. But taking a look back at the base of the hill, Austrians sending in Landwehr now into melee combat, something you never want to do against Russians, because they will just rip your face off, and you do not want that. These guys are just killing machines in melee combat, so Austrian player should know better, but instead he's going to be shifting over more line infantry now. We've got some King's German Legion Fusiliers pushing in. We also have a massive horde of Landwehr still committing troops. So Nico doing a really good job on holding off this massive attack, and only losing 8 musketeers, as to where the Austrians are losing many more troops. Not as skilled, and cuirassiers are not meant for square formation, so they're going to be suffering a lot more guys. It looks like Nico's going to be trying to general snipe again, getting very close to the general, having no respect for the enemy general whatsoever. Shots is so close, but somehow Austrian general still manages to survive. Over here though, Old Guard are in a firefight up against the 42nd, but they have to realize there is a Dragoon unit that is very healthy coming their way, and it doesn't look like he's going to be able to form square. And he's not going to. Actually, a very late square formation, and just like that, that Old Guard unit just got absolutely demolished. Unable to form square now. Morale's going to suffer, and soon they are going to break. Over here, British doing a really good job, but it looks like the French are still committing troops despite being outnumbered and outranged. We also have the Foot Guards here. Very even matchup for Old Guard against Foot, but there are rifles there ready for him as well. Countercharge here by Nico, sending in the Dragoons and just plowing over these Austrians as they try to get closer. Musketeers once again back in it with melee combat, and they're going full force now, so big counterattack by the Russians. They're going to try and cause as much damage as possible amongst the Austrian ranks, and it seems to be working. Austrian general fleeing for his life right now. Let's pull up the mini-map. I'm sure that's pretty helpful. So taking a look at the Austrian general, looks like just himself and his buddy managed to run off together. They're going to have some good times being by themselves, far, far away from the battlefields, where things are much safer. But the Russians still plowing through the Austrians, and their numbers are still fairly healthy. Over here, though, we have another engagement. Hungarian Fusiliers and German Fusiliers up against some Russian Jaegers and the Musketeers. And it looks like Nico's not really needing to send in any other Russian troops. He still has Uhlans and Lifeguard Foot ready to respond. But this young guard did come back, and he's actually forming square. And that's going to prevent any of these British cavalry from causing any damage. And it looks like the French artillery is in jeopardy right now. We have the King's German Legion Light Dragoons coming in. Not looking good for the French artillery. They're trying to unlimber, but not going to do it in time. And once again, another French unit is breaking. So right now, Nico and his ally are looking very sharp. Have pretty much every advantage going for them. And the charge is still continuing. Austrian mass rout occurring. Ton of bodies dying. And, wow, Austrian Lights trying to hold on for dear life. Pretty much break on impact. Their morale is definitely suffering from the general routing. and a complete slaughter of Austrian troops. And the Russians still continuing their charge. Austrian morale getting very weak in the center. French troops trying to respond with what units they have left. But it looks like this old guard unit or young guard unit is doing a really good job on keeping the British cavalry away. But they're not going to be able to keep away the 42nd nor the rifles. So these guys are definitely in for a treat. They do have some good positioning. But they're definitely surrounded on all sides. Forming square finally, and those guys got some mad airtime, actually knocking over some of the French troops. So it looks like they're using their own bodies as projectiles. And it seems to be working. I mean, it definitely knocked them off their feet. It looks like 2-3 guys were sent over to try and kill some Frenchies in midair. So that was pretty cool to see. But there goes the British cavalry. And it looks like with one swift volley of the 42nd, the Young Guard are gone from the battlefields. So things are not looking good for the Austrians and the French. Continual bombardment by the Russians, actually causing a mass rout of Austrians. And you can just take a look at the numbers right now. Super high numbers. 125, 111, 134, and 65 men. Oh no, a direct hit by the unicorns. I mean, just look at the bodies. It just, man. 20-pound unicorns are definitely an artillery piece to worry about. So with the Austrians pretty much in a full retreat and getting blasted as they do retreat, they are pretty much down to only one unit left, and that is the Wimbush Jaegers. Now the Wimbush Jaegers are a pretty elite unit, but seeing that they are outnumbered severely, it's going to be very hard for them to do any, significant damage during this game. But it looks like the French are going to be reforming their lines now. We got some Polish Legion, Young Guard, as well as some Swiss Foot. And they're going to be up against some King's German Legion and Foot Guard. So two highly depleted units, but also elite units. Looks like the Polish Legion are shooting the horses in the forest, only killing a few due to them being in better terrain. But once again, general sniping the French general. So Nico, complete savage in his movements and just who he targets, and has zero respect for the enemy. And it's definitely showing right now, seeing that he's just killing everyone that retreats. There's no prisoners, just everyone is dead. The Polish Legion, though, forming square once again at the right time and breaking yet again another British cavalry unit. But this is going to allow the 42nd to form up. You can see this is where the French artillery used to be. And they're going to engage very close and just start mauling the Polish Legion to pieces. Looks like some of the Austrian units are coming back. We have a German Fusilier unit here, as well as the rifle unit. So, Schlesien-Schützen and another rifle unit, and King's German Legion, German Legion. Looks like the Polish Legion are going to continue to engage, but more British reinforcements are arriving. We have some more foot, and things are not looking good for the enemy. They do not hold any advantage, really. We do have some Cheshires in the forest. They're going to be up against some rifles. Rifles are in light formation, and they do hold the hill. So once again, not looking good for the enemy forces. And it looks like he's going in for a melee charge, charging straight into the foot. Not a smart move, though. We have the 42nd just shooting them as they do push up onto British positions. Down to 71 men. Orange morale. He really needs to send his general over, and I just want to show you guys. Look at the trail of Austrians just routing from the battlefields. Absolutely ridiculous numbers just retreating. These guys are beat. I mean, the line just goes on and on and on and on and on. But anyways, Polish Legion do break. 42nd on the move right now, trying to find any targets, and it looks like, once again, chasing down the enemy forces and taking no prisoners. But we do have the Young Guard, though. They're going to try and protect the Polish Legion as they do retreat. and they're going to get some really good volleys off. So right now, 42nd in a very bad position. Looks like they're going to be charging into the young guard, but the old guard are there to protect the young guard. Actually, young guard on young guard. These guys do have a very, very quick reload speed. So any second, officer getting a shot off, followed by his men. 42nd has definitely seen better days, but with the Russians coming and a lot of British reserves coming, it's not going to matter. We have the Swiss foot in melee combat up against some foot. Definitely outnumbered, and who knows, they might be able to blend in and sneak away and survive with the red uniforms, but very, very unlikely. Young Guard trying their best to protect the Swiss foot. Be very hard to tell who is who looking at their point of view. They all look the same. But they're going to try and do their best. Swiss foot down to 50 men. But it looks like the foot are also getting to have some bad morale. But I think the Swiss foot are going to break before anything else. General Staff once again losing more men. Nico just killing everything he sees. So now we have the rifles coming in. You know, I'm calling it. I think this is going to be a kill shot. No, not quite. One of these has to be a kill shot. Oh man, right in the line, and look at the general. Oh my god. Oh man, the general going airborne. That was a good 50 feet in the air. And there goes the French general. So both enemy generals are gone from the battlefield. One dead and one running back. I believe back to Austria. So Young Guard, final 2 units on the battlefield on the northern section of the map. Or left section of the map, but on the right, it looks like the Austrians once again committing another attack, this time with only 1 unit, and they're up against a lot of troops, unable to break through any lines. They do end up retreating. Oh man, let the bodies fly. Young Guard now being chased down by the foot, and they break before anything. 20-pound unicorn still engaging, and they have done a wonderful job this game on destroying the enemy units. Can't wait to see their score. And there is the game. So a very, very quick matchup. Definitely not a very even game, but it was definitely entertaining to watch, and I hope it was entertaining for you guys as well. So taking a look at the statistics, we have Nico on top, 1,300 kills, British player. Right behind that with 1,100, I'd say 1,200. As for the French, they didn't do a horrible job. They killed, half of their losses, which, I mean, it's not the best, but in this case, it was alright, getting 700. And then the Austrians, I think his attack just failed. He just couldn't commit troops enough. Or make the appropriate decisions, and the 20-pound unicorns did play a huge factor in losing those units. But taking a look, oh man, actually the unicorns not getting the most kills. We have the lifeguard foot on top, 257 kills. They earned themselves a chevron. 20-pound unicorns, 233 kills. And 2 chevrons in the final one with 182. So anyways guys, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to join my Steam group as well as my Discord for any information relating replays or players that I need. And that is pretty much it guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys later.